Welcome back to Philosothoughts, where we dissect the deepest ideas hidden within the stories we love. Today, we're plunging into the darkness of Gachiakuta, a world where the line between civilization and garbage is drawn with absolute cruelty. Get ready to explore a radical philosophy forged not in universities, but in the refuse of society. Can righteous rage truly be a force for justice? Let's find out. Every society defines what is useful and what is trash. But what happens when a society builds its very foundation by declaring that people are the trash? Welcome to the dystopian world of Gachiakuta, a fierce, brutal allegory that exposes the hypocrisy of a class system taken to its most literal extreme. Here, the privileged thrive in the untouched celestial city, Aether, bathed in cleanliness and order, where perfection is law and filth is banned. In brutal contrast, all the discarded and marginalized are cast into the abyss of eternal garbage, the abyss, or grave. This is not just a landfill, it is a social prison, a cold, lawless purgatory built on the lie of systemic justice that comforts the wealthy and crushes the poor. In this video, we will delve into the indomitable philosophy of Rudo, a young man whose entire life was a struggle for survival, and who, after being falsely accused of a crime, is hurled into the abyss. His condemnation is not a punishment, but a declaration that, to society, he held no worth at all. Rudo's driving force is his righteous rage, a burning fury against injustice that does not corrupt him, but empowers him. We will explore how he transforms society's discards into his weapon, Jinki, becoming the revolutionary force that challenges a world built on hypocrisy and lies. His quest is not just for survival or personal vengeance, but for a fundamental reevaluation: what and who deserves to be called valuable. Rudo's rebellion is, in essence, a philosophical fight for the right to a dignified existence. The critique of value, trash as identity. The celestial city's decision to cast the poor into the abyss is based on a simple, cruel philosophical premise. Worth is determined by cleanliness and utility to the system. Anything that deviates, be it broken machinery or a human without means, is declared Gachiakuta, trash, and deemed existentially worthless. This act of discarding is not just cleaning up, it is a moral judgment, a philosophical declaration of non-existence. The system attempts to erase the identity of everyone it throws away. Rudo's response to this erasure is the core of his philosophy. His very existence becomes a rebuttal. As a discard himself, he finds value only in other discarded objects. His Jinki power, the ability to imbue worthless objects with life and power, is the literalization of his worldview. It's an act of existential defiance. By turning rejected junk into powerful weapons, Rudo performs a constant philosophical reversal, proving that the system's valuation is fundamentally wrong. Rudo's use of Jinki is not merely a combat ability, it is a political statement and a philosophical critique in action. Every piece of trash transformed into a weapon is an artifact rescued from oblivion and invested with meaning. This creates an epistemology of discard. For the Celestial City, trash is the end of the story. For Rudo, trash is potential. He demonstrates that the source of true power and change lies precisely in the margins that the system seeks to suppress. By valuing the rejected, Rudo doesn't just survive, he constructs a new hierarchy of value based on inherent potential rather than imposed status. Ultimately, the abyss is the world's subconscious, a place where all the inconvenient truths, flaws, and failures are dumped and forgotten. Rudo, as the hero of the abyss, forces both the Celestial City and the audience to confront this philosophical hypocrisy. His power, born from refuse, serves as a constant, jarring question. What valuable potential are we, in our own lives and societies, blindly discarding? He is the symbolic champion who teaches that true worth lies not in conformity to a system's shallow standards, but in the inherent, unbreakable potential found in every human being, regardless of their social classification. Righteous rage, the engine of rebellion. Rudo's quest is not fueled by passive hope or quiet resilience. It is propelled by an intense, searing rage. Philosophically, this anger is crucial because it is not malicious, it is righteous. It is a direct, justified emotional response to systemic injustice, the murder of his adoptive father, and the utter abandonment by the Celestial City. This distinction is vital. While destructive hatred seeks only to inflict pain, Rudo's rage is a productive force, directed specifically at the oppressive system that declared him worthless. This intense emotion acts as the ultimate test of his moral character. In the brutality of the abyss, many would turn their anger inward or devolve into nihilistic self-destruction. Rudo does the opposite. He externalizes his rage, channeling it into the willpower to survive, improve his jinki, and ultimately challenge the societal structure. His anger is the engine that prevents his spirit from being broken and his identity from being erased. It is the fuel for his unbreakable resolve. In a world defined by the cold, calculated cruelty of the privileged, Rudo proves that sometimes the fiercest emotional commitment is the only viable path to meaningful change. His rage is his most honest statement, a declaration to the Celestial City that their injustice will not be accepted, and that the rejected are coming back not with pleas, but with a justified demand for retribution. Ultimately, Rudo's rage is a force of moral accountability. It is the passion that demands the Celestial City step out of its sanitized denial and confront the human cost of its perfect existence. His anger forces a confrontation that logic alone cannot achieve, asserting that true justice requires more than mere rule following. It requires a visceral rejection of moral emptiness. This philosophical commitment to confrontation ensures Rudo will never be just another forgotten piece of trash. His anger has burned itself into a permanent, necessary challenge. Moral dichotomy: the lie of cleanliness versus the truth of the filthy. The entire social structure of Gachiakuta is built on a dangerous moral dichotomy, that cleanliness equals goodness and filth equals evil. The Celestial City maintains its pristine appearance by literally sweeping its moral and physical problems into the abyss. Philosophically, this is a form of collective self-deception. They achieve a clean conscience only by declaring the suffering they caused to be trash, and thus irrelevant. This distinction is vital. While the physical filth holds a deeper moral truth, the people there, though discarded, exhibit genuine human bonds, loyalty, and a raw fight for existence. Conversely, the Celestial City's cleanliness masks profound moral decay, institutional cruelty, and the corruption necessary to sustain their perfect facade. This inversion is Rudo's ultimate philosophical triumph. He forces the realization that true value is found not in avoiding the messiness of life, but in acknowledging and engaging with it. The jinki power drawn from the physical refuse of the world is a daily reminder that the source of power in life is often found in the very things that society has rejected. The philosophical lie of the Celestial City is exposed. The true trash is not the people they discarded, but the corrupted morality of the system itself. Ultimately, the Celestial City's obsession with aesthetic purity is a symptom of a deeper existential fear. They are afraid of their own flaws, their own mortality, and their own capacity for corruption. The abyss is the constant, inconvenient mirror showing them the truth of their creation. By fearing the filth, they discard the potential for redemption and self-awareness, condemning themselves to a rigid, morally stagnant existence. Rudo, covered in the dirt of the abyss, is the living challenge to their sterile philosophy, asserting that courage lies in embracing the totality of human experience, the beauty and the trash alike.
The revolution of perspective, forging the future. Rudo's philosophy doesn't just critique the Celestial City, it demands a revolution of perspective from everyone who witnesses it. His ability to create power from Gachiakuta is a constant, symbolic reminder that the most essential step toward change isn't tearing down the established walls, but fundamentally redefining the value of what lies beneath them. He proves that the map of the world must be redrawn, not based on the utilitarian definitions of the powerful, but on the inherent worth of the rejected. This revolution is the realization that the future doesn't belong to the clean hands that threw others away, but to the dirty hands that learned how to build with the pieces left behind. Rudo is the living embodiment of the notion that hope, like power, can be found everywhere, even in the deepest trash heap. This shift in vision is what makes collective action in the abyss possible. The community Rudo joins is not defined by its shared poverty, but by a shared rejection of the Celestial City's judgment. Their survival is rooted in the collective agreement to see potential in each other and in every piece of refuse where the outside world saw only failure. Thus, the revolution of perspective becomes the revolution of community. It is a declaration that the discarded will no longer internalize the definition placed upon them, choosing instead to forge a new reality where their inherent dignity is the only measure of worth. Philosophically, this transformation reveals a critical truth about power itself. The Celestial City's power is static, used only for maintenance and the rigid enforcement of the status quo. In contrast, the Abyss, through the Jinki, unlocks potential energy found in the rejected. Rudo's ability is the ultimate expression of this idea. He is the catalyst that proves the discarded object, stripped of purpose by the system, is not empty, but is charged with latent energy waiting to be recognized and deployed in an act of creation and rebellion. This new perspective offers a devastating foresight for the Celestial City's inevitable demise. By refusing to acknowledge the humanity and potential of those in the Abyss, the city guarantees its own destruction. The system's insistence on purifying its own moral and physical space merely concentrates the opposing energy, the power of rejection, in one place. Rudo's philosophy is both a warning and a blueprint. The failure to see value in the marginalized ensures that the marginalized will eventually rise, armed with the very power the system was foolish enough to throw away.
Epilogue: the will to define. Rudo's journey transcends the simple themes of class warfare. It becomes a fundamental existential battle against meaninglessness. The Abyss in this light is not just a trash heap, but a metaphor for the absurd, the cold, uncaring universe that has deemed his life without purpose. Rudo's active rebellion, fueled by his righteous rage, is the ultimate existential refusal. He doesn't wait for the Celestial City or any higher power to grant him worth. He aggressively creates his own meaning and power out of the very materials of his rejection. His story is a powerful testament to the will to define oneself, proving that when society attempts to discard your life, the most profound act of human freedom is to fiercely and unapologetically declare your own value. The Jinki power is the ultimate physical expression of this existential resolve. His weapon, forged from a discarded piece of fabric or metal, is the literal tool of his self-creation. It is the visual, violent proof that Rudo is no longer defined by the Celestial City's judgment, but by his own choice and will. Every swing of his Jinki is an affirmation of the meaning he assigned to himself and his discarded world, making his fight the purest form of self-determination imaginable, a heroic declaration that existence precedes essence. Ultimately, the philosophy of Gachiakuta serves as a powerful mirror for the audience. It forces us to examine our own social complacency and to recognize the subtle ways in which we might accept external definitions of our own limitations or value. Rudo's example challenges us to ask, have we allowed our worth to be determined by the celestial city of our own lives, our job title, our income, or our social status?
Or have we had the courage to claim our power from the trash of our own past failures and flaws? This profound act of philosophical self-definition is the final, urgent lesson. Rudo's entire narrative proves that the deepest source of human power is the radical refusal to be silent. It is the fierce moral decision to declare that even the most broken, the most marginalized, and the most discarded elements of ourselves hold an unbreakable inherent value, a value that only we have the right to claim and define. Final reflection: the philosophy of dignity expanded. Rudo's journey, though set in a fantastical world of superpowered trash, is a brutal mirror held up to our own society. His philosophy is a radical rejection of the power structure that seeks to define human worth based on utility or aesthetic purity. He teaches us three fundamental truths that apply to any life. First, that value is inherent, not granted. By weaponizing the Gachiakuta, Rudo proves that potential is everywhere, waiting to be seen and claimed. He transforms the act of being discarded into a source of power, nullifying the moral authority of those who rejected him. Second, that rage can be righteous. His fury is a moral compass, directing his will toward justice, rather than allowing him to be consumed by malice. It is the necessary emotional force to shatter a system that feels safe in its cold, calculated cruelty. And third, that true worth is found in moral truth, not in superficial cleanliness. The abyss, though vile, is honest. The celestial city is a beautiful lie. The hero is not the one who stays clean, but the one willing to get dirty in the fight for truth. Rudo's rebellion is ultimately a fight for dignity. It is the fierce assertion that every discarded human being, every piece of forgotten potential, has the absolute right to existence and self-determination. His power isn't about saving the world. It's about forcing the world to see the value it tried to discard, and restoring dignity to those who were deemed trash. His philosophy is a shout: never accept someone else's definition of your own worth. The story of Gachiakuta asks us, what are the social structures, the silent moral rules that define what and who is disposable in your own life? What potential are you overlooking by accepting someone else's definition of trash? Let us know in the comments below. What is one thing society commonly discards that you believe holds incredible worth? If Rudo's fight for dignity resonated with you, hit the like button and subscribe to Philosoph Thoughts for more deep dives into the philosophy of manga and anime.